is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdates 211014.1. With our course resumed, I've started to do an inventory of all the Arcadia stock, and to be honest, I'm only doing this because I was requested to by Subfleet because they believe someone has been, half-inching it. When I find out who it is, I'm going to fire them out of the torpedo chute attached to a torpedo. Not long ago, Def Noodles was a rising star on YouTube. He had a cute gimmick that became quite irritating exceptionally fast. He commented on stories in a comedic style, air quotes, yep. And because of his delivery and because the topics were hot, he grew very quickly. His presence on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter grew with him, and he grew quite a considerable fan base, supporter base, simp base. But last year and this year things started to unravel. The cute gimmick grated on far too many people. He was found to have blocked everyone on the Def Noodles Twitter, and if he really didn't like you, he would also block you on his backup, his, quote, main account. Now, I covered this when he made some mistakes last year and this year, because he's hilarious for being a bit of a bitch, with all the intellect and integrity of someone putting their face up against an industrialized sander while being pegged with a zombie blade. He was rumbled on numerous occasions for parroting talking points from H3, and he maintained all that time when he got removed from Twitter, he was just trying to protect his supporter base. What he really meant is echo chamber, because everything was just a jerk breh, just a jerk breh, when in reality he was peddling fake news, which was why he got yeeted in the first place. Some of that fake news came courtesy of extensive threads where he had lied in those threads, did not delete the lie, and simply in a separate tweet which never would have gotten anywhere near as much attention indicated that part of it may have been fictitious. He is renowned for lies. It is arguably his best trait. Now he has since gone on to rebrand, ditch the cat character in a Minecraft house, and just be Dennis Fatosa. And in doing so, dropping the character as it were, he has shown who he actually is. A very reactionary individual who can't seem to control himself, obsessive and in denial. This has led to him being very, very present on newer Twitter accounts, which then also got yeeted, which for obvious reasons got yeeted, but he has to kind of allude to it while also blame someone else. For those who don't know, if you circumvent a ban on YouTube or Twitter and you're found out to have done so, you will be yeeted. Simple as that. It doesn't matter what you did before, the rules are the rules, and they will continue to get you. Now, some people have managed to get around it by having a much smaller follower base, but when you have tens of thousands of followers, no amount of connections to bigger YouTubers will save you. Hell, the last time you got banned, Mr. Fatosa, it was Keemstar who was trying to get you reinstated because he didn't think it right for you to be yeeted in the first place, no matter how much fake news you peddled. Now yes, he failed, but you still have a hate boner for Keemstar. We know this because of more recent posts to Instagram, which I thought perhaps we could go through. There is a video as well, a rather amusing video, where some people have clipped every time he drops the F word, obsesses over Keemstar being bald, and then goes in on Lord Tippy, aka Sexual Tipster. Oh, and I'm going to insert this now. You blocked everyone without having a discussion with them. When you in a video referencing Tipster mentioned that he had blocked 4 people, you thought you had a point or a leg to stand on, forgetting that in the majority of the cases where Tipster has blocked, he has had conversations with them on Twitter back and forths that have been exhausted, whereas you don't even entertain it. Sorry, you didn't used to entertain it, now you just don't have a Twitter. So on Instagram, Def Noodles registers himself as a comedian because he's been on stage. If you've watched any of the cringy clips, he's not funny. Underneath you'll notice, Baldy Snitched. What a lovely title. So both my Twitter accounts were suspended overnight. The new Def Noodles account as well as my Go With Dennis personal account. While I'm still waiting for an email explaining the reason for this suspension, at the moment, I believe it may be related to my original suspension as I did not recently violate any guidelines. which, by the way, is circumvention of a ban. It should be noted I was never given a reason for my original suspension. So what? You were banned. You should not have created new accounts because you had been banned. Simple as that. Now granted, I don't think he should have been banned in the first place from the first account, but he has been, and he circumvented it. So Twitter was undoubtedly, once he got big enough, going to find it and yeet him. In my opinion, there is only one person responsible for this most recent suspension. He is known as the baldest head in the East. West? The most famous toilet drinker in the world. Steve-O? The inbred Sean Hannity known as Keemstar aka Karenstar. Keemstar has a long-running history of using his social media contacts to deplatform competitors and rivals, which is why he reached out to Twitter to try and get you reinstated the first time. But yes, go ahead and reach with that cope. He recently publicly demanded that YouTube CEO ban the H3 podcast because of a joke. The demand resulted in a 1-week ban for H3. You referring to the joke that made imply that he was inappropriately dating someone half his age, which was borderline something else, which is not, it's slanderous. But a joke, right? It's just a joke, joke, Yes, it was an absolute joke. By the way, I got the joke, but on YouTube, it violated certain rules, because that joke is too spicy by YouTube standards. But by all means, continue with the reach. I can't read the top line, so I'm going to go underneath Baldy Snitched here. That my Twitter accounts got suspended mere hours after I made a video responding to slanderous claims Karenstar made about me on a recent livestream. In my response, I lampooned Karenstar's obsession with me and pointed out that his social media accounts are all dying. His Twitter and YouTube are basically dead. I know you think there's a point here, and there is some legitimacy to Keemstar's numbers dwindling on Twitter and YouTube. But when you're as wealthy as Keemstar is your point really valid at all? Because the answer should be no. You're still having to work daily to produce content. He doesn't. He can live his life and flex and dab on everyone about it, because the guy's made millions from YouTube and work outside of YouTube. So really, who's obsessed? The guy who doesn't care enough but will respond in videos on Twitter when you say dumb things, or the person who does multiple stories on one individual on their Instagram account and has to obsess over the fact that they lack the follicles on top of their head, but you've still got those long, luscious locks in that dead trim that belongs around about the years of 2004 to 2007. It should be noted that Keemstar tweeted about my suspension long before I myself noticed. In this tweet, Karenstar celebrated my suspension, saying it made him happy. And to be honest, just because he was happy about it doesn't mean he supports it. He just finds it amusing. None of us supported you being yeeted from Twitter, not that you'd know that, because you blocked us all. And then you went to Instagram to cry about it. Keemstar retweeted this tweet, which he originally posted on the day of my original suspension, mere minutes after my accounts were suspended. Keemstar railed against me on Twitter and live streams for nearly 3 months and made numerous false allegations against me before I ever responded. It is my opinion that after I started responding, Keemstar started working behind the scenes to have my account suspended, because he can dish it out, but when met with similar energy he cannot take it. Spoken with no level of irony considering what you did on your accounts. I did notice on the newer accounts you had before you were yeeted you hadn't got round to blocking us all yet, but I'm sure if you had the time you would have bothered. By the way, did I mention he likes to eat out of a toilet? Oh, you're so funny. By the way, disclaimer, me saying all of this does not mean I am chasing clout by defending Keemstar. No, I'm actually pointing out where Def Noodles is wrong, and equally as bad and obsessive as the person he claims is bad and obsessive, showing tangible proof to claims he has made. Now, I'm very much aware of live streams where Keemstar has spoken about Def Noodles. I'm aware of other channels that have done the same, but let's go to the next post. As a result of these recent developments, I am once again offering $5,000 to the person who can 1. Get me more information about my original suspension, 2. Help me successfully restore my Twitter accounts. This is not a joke, this offer is 100% real. Def Noodles then goes through the allegations concerning James Charles, where he himself did make a number of rather, slanderous allegations, claiming he did in fact do 2 retractions. The thing is, those retractions weren't... No, you didn't retract straight away, you in fact dodged. And when anyone else tried to call you out on it because it had to come from your own echo chamber, everyone else was blocked. And then to claim that Keemstar's actions only because you were then banned on Twitter seems like a bitch move is ironic from somebody who again had everyone blocked but spoke about people behind a block. Many people have memed the 33-minute video you have done on Keemstar, and other creators included Tipster, which I'm not going to cover here. Tipster has spoken his piece on his channel. I watched that video. I don't think it's right you all suffer it as well, so I'm going to link Tipster's video covering it down below. As far as I'm concerned, Def Noodles is no better than the person he is going in on, and by going in on him the way he has, it is nebulous, tangible, no evidence provided other than a few screenshots. It's all claim, pejorative, strawman, random fallacy, But I'm sure to someone like Def Noodles, it's just a jerk bre. Oh, and I want to insert one last comment before we finish. I do not support people being yeeted off Twitter, for the most part. There are certain groups of individuals I don't think should be on social media at all, but I think those people generally fall under the bracket of criminal. Def Noodles does not fall into this bracket. He has peddled fake news and he has said things that are slanderous. Yes. But without knowing the full context for the original ban and the subsequent ban, which I believe is circumvention of a ban, I cannot support his being banned in the first place.